I actually had to prepare some words just because I had no idea how yesterday and today would go with these guys. And if I would remember what to say. So first of all, let me start by saying this afternoon we went out and played as a group for the first time in 14 years. And I am very, actually flabbergasted, but I am proud to say they haven't missed a lick. They picked up like we had practiced all week, and then we played, and nothing was different. Everything was exactly the same. And we had no goalie. And we still won. So Kwame, you're still doing something right. Good evening, Dr. Prisco, fellow alums, distinguished guests. Thank you all for coming. I'd first like to say congratulations to all of our inductees. Well done, boys. Is you what? 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 I'd like to thank JR and the selection committee for asking me to join them. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you to Mark Mentone, whose ulcer is now probably as big as this room. Thank you to Jess, who's not here this evening, but will be tomorrow for homecoming, I was told. And Lori for answering hundreds of emails from all over the world at all hours of the day and night. And thank you to all the family and friends who are here tonight. You honor us with your presence. Yes. And a big thank you to my wife, Laura, who supports me in everything I do as I run around in 18 different directions. And she's like, you have another wife. You're going where? But she puts up with it. I have the unique honor of having been one of 3 people involved in every single inductee's time here at Felician College. Bob Simmons being one, since he is our, for lack of a better word, our alpha. He was our first. Okay, he brought all of us in and on board. JR being no less a second, who runs, who I've worked with for many years and who I consider a very good friend. Okay, Tony was my coach first. He was then my mentor, and now he's my friend. Tony and I have talked about everything. Tony, should I get married? Ah, man, wait. How old are you? 35. Nah, you got some years to go. Tony, should I have some kids? Nah, man, wait. All right, well, Tony, I'm 40, and I have a 1.5-year-old and another one on the way in December, so... I couldn't wait any long, Tony. That was it, man. That was it. Not getting any younger. The 1998 women's basketball team was my first college coaching experience. I had only coached high school up until that point. Audrey arrived a year later and made an instant impact. Instant. She's still to this day one of my favorite players I've ever coached. Ever. That's the truth.
I just find it.
I wrote it down like 3 days ago. The 1999 and subsequent 2000 men's soccer team was my first soccer coaching job. And I would like to say that the 2000 team was perfect in every way. No headaches, that they were a dream to coach. That my job was easy as the assistant coach who was there on a daily basis. But then I'd be lying. For those of us that were here when they were, and Coach Jacobs knows, and Dr. Castro knows, none of that's true. Honestly, off the field, pardon my French, they were a real pain in the ass. On the field, they were truly special. The most gifted group I've ever had the pleasure to coach. I remember Esteban Urena saying sometime after his last game of senior year that nowhere did you find this combination of players on one team. He said, who ever heard of Spanish guys playing with Irish guys? Or Canadian guys playing with American guys? Because there was all like 2 Americans on the team at that point. All playing for an Italian coach. And who ever heard of a 5'6" goalie from Ghana?
Best goalie ever.
Yeah. That saved the PK, saved us a championship, right? Needless to say, SD didn't think it was going to work, but it did. It worked because of Tony. It worked because of the level of maturity that everyone brought with them. And it worked because of all the different nationalities and cultures. It worked because they loved to play the game. It was the bottom line. I remember some practices, and the boys and I were revisiting some this afternoon, last night, early this morning, where these guys would have me so worked up. I was ready to strangle one of them or all of them. All because I didn't think they were taking training serious. Most of my coaches I had growing up were usually yellers and screamers. So Tony and I got along. We spoke the same language, right? Not Italian, yelling and screaming. So practice wasn't fun. It was something to be suffered until the next game. But this team changed me. They changed my view of coaching, changed my attitude towards soccer, towards players, and ultimately changed the face of soccer in this conference. After our back-to-back championship seasons, every team in the conference started to recruit more international players. They saw the immediate impact of players that played the beautiful game as opposed to an American style of soccer. Kwame would dominate the defensive third of the field. Gary and John would combine for 25, 30 goals a season. If a team had one player score half that many, they were happy. We had two guys that did it. Almost every year. And Ruben.
Yeah. Ruby.
Ruby baby. Show me some magic.
Ruby baby.
Tony would often say that, and Ruben produced. And he did it again today. Arguably the best player on any team in the conference for 4 years he played, and possibly 4 years after that. Yet, he doesn't have a statistic to his name. I think we confirmed today he scored 3 goals in 4 years, but he's probably has like 80 assists that were uncredited because he was like the third guy that passed the ball. So he started all the plays, and he didn't care. Did not care. We won, somebody else scored, made him happy. Perfect player. You couldn't ask for better. No ego. It was great. Ruben's prowess was that he could dominate other players. He once played the ball through an opposing player's legs, which he did an awful lot, which for soccer is like the biggest insult. And then he turned around and did it again to the same guy. And he laughed while he did it. And I think it was in the regional championship game, but that just might be some lore right now because we haven't confirmed whether it was or wasn't. And I was recently looking at some of the rosters of this year's teams in the conference, and I found that on just 3 out of the 14 teams, including ours this year, there are players from 18 different countries. England, France, Scotland, Jamaica, Nigeria, Haiti, Serbia, Croatia, Germany, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Sweden, Ecuador, Switzerland, Montenegro, Trinidad, Mexico, and oh yes, Ghana. I believe this is a testament to Tony, who saw the advantage of recruiting overseas. To the players who took a leap of faith and came to a small Catholic college in New Jersey that they never heard of. And to Bob and JR, who supported us every step of the way. What I like to believe is that we changed the game of soccer in this conference. And maybe we changed the conference along with it. What I know is that this team changed me as a coach, as a friend, and as a teacher. And what I also know is that you've changed each other's lives. It's proven time and time again by how many of you travel all over the world to each other's weddings. And how excited you all were when I sent out that first email saying we were getting together now 14 years after that magical season. I am truly honored to be getting inducted into the Hall of Fame with this team.
Like it.
Thought you were a soldier.
Thanks, boys. Yeah, I'm getting old again. So I'm truly honored to be getting inducted in the Hall of Fame with this team, as well as Audrey and Tony and Kwame, with my players, all of them, with my coach and my friends. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. At this time, I would ask that all the men of the 2000 men's soccer team, please come forward.
Maybe it's an international thing. We're all international still. I don't know. But anyway, I'd just like to say good evening to everybody. Good evening. This thing won't stay here. Anyway, first of all, I'd like to start by saying what a great honour it is to be standing here, accepting this induction into Felician College 2014 Hall of Fame on behalf of my friends, my family, 2000 men's soccer team. There are a few people I would like to thank for making this great honour reality. Firstly, the Hall of Fame committee members, some of whom I know, some of I don't. It's a pleasure to meet you. Secondly, Mr. Bob Simmons and Mr. Benzanello, the two elected directors during my time at Felician. Without whose support, our team would not have been assembled. Never mind, gone on to even play. However, there are two men here tonight that recruited a group of boys from all over the world that had never met before, turned them into a team of men, a team of champions, but most importantly a family. Those two men are Tony Scorgiola and Mike Mueller. In 1998, Tony recruited me from Dublin. I arrived at Felician with a great expectation, hope of playing soccer for an American college. But to be perfectly honest, my freshman year, although doing okay as a team, was pretty disappointing a season. Personally, with the level of soccer I wasn't happy and I wanted to go back home. I was homesick. There was two things, besides all the great people I had met at Felician, that persuaded me to stay and come back to Felician as a sophomore. The first one was a promise that Coach Tony made to me, and the second one, obviously, it was a girl. As it happens, it turned out to be the best decision I ever made. Because that girl is now my beautiful wife and mother of my wife. It's my honor to be your husband.
Easy, bro.
And the soccer team, well, worked out all right. That summer before my sophomore year, Coach Tony promised me that he was recruiting big. He was getting good players. He was recruiting, he wanted me to stay, and he wanted to build that team capable of winning the conference. He would also make me the captain of that team, which was a bit of a risk because I gave him a little bit of trouble during my freshman year. Not much, just a bit. When I arrived back from Ireland that August 1999 for pre-season of my sophomore year, the Dormans were very quiet at first. I came back a little bit early to see that girl. But within a few days, there was new faces, different accents, speaking Spanish, Italian, French. They all arrived in Rutherford. And to my delight, a couple more Irish accents as well. Within hours of meeting these guys, I had a feeling there was the start of something special. As we began training that year, pre-season training at 6 a.m. runs, sprinting down Rutherford on the streets, going from park to park, playing, no facilities, just training. It was becoming apparent that Tony and Mike were recruited what was starting to look like a pretty good team. Throughout our first year as a team, with plenty of ups and downs, but ultimately left disappointed at the end of the season when we lost to a conference playoff in the conference playoffs due to that little puddle Tony talked about earlier. Nobody's fault, it's just the rain. It's the rain. But despite that disappointment, you're all right, Bobby. You turn it. Despite that disappointment, we'd grown into a tight-knit family. We played soccer together, went to class together, got into a little bit of mischief together. We stuck up for each other whenever was a problem. We became a team together. The next 2 years were the most successful in the history of Felician athletics. Not only had Tony kept his promise that we are building a conference winning team, But along with Coach Mike and our another assistant, Vinny Basile, they had coached, mentored and nurtured our team to winning back-to-back conference titles, back-to-back regional titles.